Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are having a great evening. I want to talk a little bit today about is it possible for a Pulsechain to do a 10x or something in that ballpark range, grow to hundreds of billions of dollars uh, in market cap, right? Value. Look, so um, before I start kind of looking into it, let's get a little bit of market sentiment. Let's see what some community members think of that possibility. Let's take a look. All right, so let's look see what some of the post chain community is saying. Some of the people who are participating in the project. Let's get a little bit of market sentiment. So we're looking at this comment here. Uh, where someone is saying we need to innovate fast, otherwise this blockchain will become a ghost chain. I do have an idea how to turn our PulseX swap into a DEX, and then you have someone saying these numbers are insane. It feels like our community is so big because it's the only thing we pay attention to, but we're super small. uh, which I actually agree with. Right? I don't think it's only it's like 100,000 stakers, if that, in the post community. Uh, Someone saying I trust Richard Hart, and even still, if we don't, which is probably not the best way to look at an investment strategy. I thought these were all the things that we warned against. Trusting in centralized figures, right? This guy says Richard Hart will deploy some magic that we can't account for yet. Uh, Ponzi's can do things we can't imagine, and so some people are still, I think, hoping for some type of intervention. Is such. Uh, and then we get somebody saying something like, there is very little chance Hex and Pulse will 10x the amount of users. Maybe three times or 3x is possible. So what do you guys think about that? What are your thoughts and opinions on some of this commentary? Before I give my opinion, let's get a little bit more market sentiment. And at first glance, you might think some of these comments are coming from haters of the comments are actually consecutively coming from what I would have believed some of Post's biggest supporters, right? Some of the community's biggest supporters. So this comment, somebody is saying, some of your favorite Post influencers, as it were. But in this particular lot here, excuse me, this commenter is saying, love your work, Furu. Don't waste too much of your time on, and this is coming from Furu Finance, I believe it is, channel. The last one was my friend Somi. I think he got like over 18,000 subscribers and building up big in the post community. So just in case some people might say, oh, you're just reading from the people who don't like it. But back to back, we're finding comments that are along the same lines, and you can look for yourself. But he says, love your work, Furo. Don't waste too much of your time on the Hex OGs. You're absolutely correct in saying they are trying to exit EHEX at the expense of others. By the way, the 10,000x Hex achieved would have never happened without the Pulse and PulseX sacrifice phases. Richard Hart and the Hex OG scammed the Pulse and PulseX communities there as well. Only a matter of time before Richard Hart is held accountable. Interesting comment. All right, let's look at some more. Uh, let's see. Most of the OG streamers barely ever stream. They don't even stream daily anymore. To run OGs under the bus. So none of these comments seem that great for expansion, of the post chain community, right? As such. for a community that wants to 10x and go into billions of dollars. It would seem. And so somebody's getting angry here. Stop the hate, Furu. You are damaging the community. So generally that starts because anytime people have their money into something, if they feel that's threatened, they usually attack the people who are bringing the information to the forefront. But what we need to keep in mind is that if there is a much larger problem that's cracking at the hull of the ship, then that problem is a problem that's going to probably rear its face either way. And so, by community members focusing on it, uh, doesn't have generally anything to do with, we like to call it FUD, but I like to call it what the facts are of the situation, right? And if there's something, a muck out there, you got to nip it in the butt. But let me get into my commentary directly on if the community can 10x and are people holding their bags for nothing or what's going to happen. Here on Bitcoin MYK, looking at people join this site every day, minute by minute. And what I'm noticing is it's taking them like 30 seconds to get an account. Literally 30 seconds to get an account. Literally 30 seconds to get an account and mint cryptocurrency, get access to free cryptocurrency. Everything literally done in a minute. Do you know what that means? That means a billion people could get on here, get an account in 30 seconds, start moving cryptocurrency in 30 seconds with no user experience, no understanding of cryptocurrency or anything. My question to the Post community is, for you to be able to 10x, right? And it's going to require quite a bit of capital coming into Pulsechain. Where's the money going to come from, right? Where are you going to find these new people? Also, keep in mind that a lot of the incentive for people to move, a lot of times is due on pumps, right? Due on market pumps. Pulsechain isn't experiencing any of that right now, right? So the learning curve for these people to not only learn how to come into Pulsechain and get on Pulsechain, but without having the results of the market, it creates less incentive for them to get into Pulsechain. Does that make sense? And so your usership, because of the high amount of mental aptitude they have to have, whereas opposed to a project like Bitcoin MYK that we talk to you all about on a regular basis, you can kind of see where this is going, like where people's minds are going as they're talking about Metcalfe's law, which has a lot to do on how fast people can get into the project, right? In our project, the transactions are free. The learning curve is very, very minuscule, it's very small. The project is free. And there's something else, as we'll show you in a second. Looking at the charts of Bitcoin MYK, this is a project that goes up 100, 200% a day sometimes, right? And the reason for that is because of the low liquidity it has, right? And that's just part of what it takes for markets to move in that fashion. You got to have low liquidity. The more liquidity you actually have, the harder it becomes to get those 10x's and 20x's and such. But because the liquidity is so low, just a few $1,000s can cause this thing to 10,000x or something like that. It's really crazy, right? But it's also quite a stable project in that it relies on Metcalfe's law so much, the technology of how it works, right? The point I'm trying to make is there are certain necessities that are going to be necessary to bring in new money and bring new people in. And one of those things is going to have to be barrier entry is going to be very low, right? And I think projects like Bitcoin and YK have figured out a way to do that effectively. And I think it's showing. I think the problem with Pulse is not only do you have all these people holding this Pulse and ready to get out of it, right? So people are probably going to want to get out as soon as it does a 2x or a 3x, especially the more time they have to hold it, the more anxious they become, the more fearful they become. Because what happens if it does do a 2 or 3x? Are they going to wait for it to 10x, or are they just going to say, hey, this thing's probably going to go back down to under sack price, and I'm going to take my chances now? I don't know what's going to happen, right? And I think the roller coaster people have been on with all these years with the Pulsechain puts it in that camp where it just makes it ever so more difficult to achieve that, right? Not financial advice, but because it is a totally free project and the transactions are free. If you want to see something like that, my thoughts would be getting to something like Bitcoin and YK, right? There should be a link in the description to help you do that. But if you're diehard on Pulsechain and you think it's going to do it, uh, I won't say it won't, but I will say that if you're hoping that, don't look for Richard Hart to pump the price up. Because from the comments section, I feel a lot of people are still holding on to that belief, right? That something's going to happen like that. Um, the next thing I'd say is probably be a little bit more realistic, right? Probably this is a lesson that, you might, if you're able to get your money back you invested, maybe it might be time to cut your losses. I'm just saying, sometimes you can go to the gambling table a little bit too often, right? And the stakes are down and the chips run out, right? So that's something to think about. But I'm going to keep it short like that. My opinion is based on the low user base of the post community. As one of the commenters said, it seems like a lot of people because there's a lot of hoopla, there's a lot of focus, particularly, but it's actually quite small compared to the top 100 cryptocurrencies, right? And in addition to that, it's very low liquid. So you got a lot of that, that's not being analyzed and looked into. So I don't believe that it's going to yield you guys the results you think. I don't think the people involved in this project or even the investors quite understand how Metcalfe's law works. I don't think they understand the importance of the easiness of barrier of entry or the reduction of it to a great degree. I just don't think it's well thought out on their ends to a great degree. Um, but in any event, most if you're a lot of people's money are in there and it's stuck and they're under sack price, they're well under when there's billions upon billions of dollars that's went into this project. It doesn't seem to be doing it any good. Uh, in this case, I would say, in a truer understanding of Metcalfe's law, use something like Bitcoin and YK. That through a true form of Metcalfe's law might can help you guys get some value back and achieve something at no risk to yourself, right? At no loss to yourself, right? Because it's free and you can do everything free on it. That would be my, uh, uh, you know, what I would like to present to you all at this point. Of course, it's up to you. Do what you like, believe what you like, believe in what you like, and hope for what you like. Certainly, you're right, and I certainly understand some of you guys' opinions. But if you look at the video, you can see what some of the community thinks, and for good reason. But that's all I want to say in this video, guys. Again, bitcoinmyk.com is the site. The link should be in the description. Invited to check it out and maybe have a better experience within cryptocurrency. That's all I got to say in this video. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.